Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains, and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strains. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo.
Good morning and welcome to day 8 of Vlogmas. This is Festivities on the Float, and today I'm going to be talking about the water. And it is a beautiful sunny day in the Vancouver area. The sun is shining. It is 5.5 degrees. Long sleeve shirt, but I could actually sit comfortably outside at least for a few minutes. And one thing I'm noticing today is the water levels are really high. So in the words of Blondie, the tide is high. I don't know if I'm moving on, but anyway, the water levels are really high. The tide is actually still coming in, and we're in what's called a king tide right now. And apparently this happens a few times a year, and that's when the tides are super high. And right now, when I look around the pilings, which are those posts across the river, there's a sign on one of them, and I can see how high the water is against them. And I'll take you to the other side of the house as well, so you can see the ramps in a moment. And where the ramps are, the angle of the ramp, it changes when the tides are up and down. So our house goes up and down with the tides, as do our shared docks. From what I understand, the king tides happen a couple of times a year, and that's when the water goes really high. And the pilings across the way, those are those posts across, and the pilings also hold our houses in place, but the posts across the way, there's a sign on one of them, and I can see the water level going up and down on those. And right now the water is getting much closer to the sign than I have seen it. Yesterday I noticed that the tide seemed really high as well, and today again it's king tide season from what I understand. So I think, and this is my totally uneducated guess, but we had a solar eclipse the other day. I think that the moon and the solar eclipse and those things affect the tides, and the water level is definitely noticeable around here. I'm going to take you out to the front of the house in a moment so you can see how our ramp system works. I'm still very much learning what it's like to live on a float home, and a couple of the things that I do know for sure is that our homes, look, Swans. We give up everything to go visit Swans. I can be telling you about the most wonderful thing, and when the swans come, that's even more wonderful. So, got our popcorn. Our swans have come for a visit, and oh my gosh, I'm so happy that you got to see them fly in, because that doesn't happen all that often. And it is now time to feed the swans. Is it just me? It never gets old feeding the swans. It really doesn't. Just so pretty. I wonder if they're enjoying the high tides. You can see that the water is coming in because the popcorn is moving along, and they are floating upriver towards the mountains. I'm not gracefully feeding them today. I'm just dumping in the popcorn for them. I'm just so happy to see them because it's been a few days. I haven't seen them since Saturday. You can tell that the tide is coming in still because the current is pushing the swans away, and the popcorn too. And they're going upriver towards the mountains in the background. I wonder if they're enjoying the high tides. They're definitely enjoying the popcorn. Give them a bit more. Come back out here to try and finish what I started, which was talking about the tides, but of course the swans, they take precedence all the time because I want them to visit as much as they can, and they are just in the water there. So on the float homes, we go up and down with the tides. We are attached to pilings, so those are those brown posts that you can see, and we have a little bracket around our houses, and that helps lift us and lower us as the water goes up and down. There's a little bit of space on the piling so that we do move slightly, but we don't feel it when we're in the house, unless a really big boat comes along and is really rude and creates a crazy wake. I've only felt it once. Yesterday a boat went by and I was on FaceTime with one of my friends, and the lights really started swinging. We were just laughing away, but I said, "You're not even over here drinking or anything like that." But yeah, the lights do swing, so you do have to be a little bit cautious with some of the fixtures. So some of the joys. Anyway, right now, if you look at the ramp, the angle of the ramp or the slope of the ramp is really quite low, and that's because we are in a very high tide, and our parking lot, our parking spaces up there are fairly close to the water compared to what they have been in the past. Other king tides probably, I don't know, maybe it's even gotten higher, I don't know. Anyway, right now to go up the ramp is quite an easy task. At a low tide, and especially a really, really low tide, that slope is really, really steep. They're distracting me. They're just so pretty. One's over there and one's going to the front to see Scout, because of course Scout is there. And then I also have my hummingbird on a feeder here who just flew away. So many distractions on a float home. Anyway, look at my pretty. How hard is it to keep focus when there's beautiful, beautiful swans just swimming by, especially when they fly in? So our house is attached to 2 pilings. Yes, there's the distraction. And it has a little bit of a gap on each of the sides. And so our house does move. It just shifts, it goes up and down with the water, but it also does move back and forth ever so slightly, not enough that you would feel it. And so these are the pilings. They do go quite high, so I guess if we had a super king tide, we would hopefully stay on our pilings so that we don't float off into the Fraser and then down to the Pacific, because that would just be a very terrifying thing. Anyway, these are the pilings and they hold our house in place. And then we do have the dock system as well. They are held in by pilings as well, and they go up and down with the tides too. Lovely Scout here has adjusted very well to being on a float home. She's not able to go out on the green grass as much as she used to when we were in Toronto, but she does seem to love to come out here, especially when the swans come out, and she likes to lie in the sunshine. She is still healing from her little accident a few weeks back, so she is having some calm time, get some outdoor time on nice days. And Miss Tasha, she likes to come out here too. When we were in Toronto, Tasha was primarily an indoor cat, and now that we have moved to the Vancouver area, because we have an enclosed space on this back deck, we do let her come out here for little bits when she wants to. So sometimes she will come out and look at the birds, swans, the hummingbirds. Other times she'll come and just enjoy a little bit of sunshine, explore a little bit. Right now I guess she's trying to decide whether to lie inside in the nice warm sun or to come out and get some fresh air. It's It's a big decision, isn't it? It's just about 10:15 right now, and the tide will be highest at 10:30 today. So at that point, the tides will stop coming in, so they'll get a little tiny bit higher in the next few minutes, and they will start heading out to the Pacific, leading us to a low tide. But the next few days we will be having some king tides, and it's been interesting seeing how high the water has been rising. Anyway, I hope that you have enjoyed today's Vlogmas, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great day, evening, whatever time it is for you, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
In excelsis Deo, Gloria, in excelsis Deo.
Another really interesting thing about living on the river is that you get to see the tugboats and the booms coming down. Every once in a while you'll see one of the guys get off the tugboats and start walking on the booms. You can see on the second tugboat, that's Iron Horse there, that he's walking around on the back of the tug. I wonder whether he will jump on the boom for us. Wouldn't that be fun? So we have Tug Away in the lead, followed by Iron Horse. Now this is a medium-sized boom. Sometimes the booms have been really, really long. Currently, over by the post that I was saying has a sign on it that I can see the high tides, just right there. There were logs there, but there haven't been for a while, so I wonder if these booms of logs are going to be placed across the river from us. All the interesting things that happen on the Fraser and just off of the float.